Hi, this is Jackie's Reading Room, and I'm your host, Jackie P. Have you turned some pages today? Picture yourself on a beautiful beach. Feel the warm sand between your toes, the gentle breeze caressing your skin, the sound of the waves crashing nearby, and the vivid turquoise water. Now imagine you are on vacation on that beach, completely stress free, lying lazily on a lounge chair with your favorite drink and a book in your hand. What are you reading? You know that I love to watch people read. I have to say it. I do watch people reading at the beach. As the summer vacations are getting closer, I wanted to talk about the book category called Beach Read. I'm sure you've heard of it. And I think that it's a very interesting concept. So I started by asking my very best friend who loves the beach what is the most amazing one she's seen, and she replied with Half Moon Cay in the Bahamas. And I have pictures of this beach right in front of me. If you Google that and click on images, you'll see why she said that. I'm sure white sand, clear blue water, and it's got like kind of that half moon, right? It's kind of in a shape of a half moon. Beautiful place. So I can see it, the appeal of the beach. Then I also asked her about a book she enjoyed reading at the beach. And she mentioned the Ellen Hildebrand trilogy, referred to as the Paradise series. And it's composed of 3 books, obviously. So, Winter in Paradise, that came out in 2018. What Happens in Paradise, 2019. And Troubles in Paradise, which came out in 2020. Now, Ellen is the New York Times bestselling author of 28 novels, including the popular title 28 Summers. And I will put the link to her website. And you'll see that she has quite a few different series. There's a summer series, there's even a winter series, the Paradise series that I just mentioned. And she's got a few others that are kind of separate. So, very interesting to find out about that. I'm sure they make excellent beach reads, but what actually makes a book a beach read? Because I wanted to understand that and tell you about that. And even me, I mean, I've used this term, I've known about this term, but I just wanted to go a bit deeper. So I found a very, very good article from bookriot.com, and I will put the link to that as well. That is entitled What Makes a Book a Beach Read? And it came out smack in the middle of the pandemic, 2020. I thought it was extremely interesting. So basically, the term beach read was actually it started out as a marketing tool for publishers. And it says here that the first uses of the term were quite likely in the summer of 1990 when I was a young teen. Now, in publishing, what it refers to is the blockbuster books published in summer. And then I quote that from the text. And it's not a genre, right? It is more of a category. And what the article I thought did a good job at describing was that it's another way of mood reading. They were saying that some readers self identify as mood readers. It says they allow their mood to dictate their reading. I totally do this. And depending on the time of the year, the weather outside, what I'm doing, if I'm busy with work, if if it's summertime and I can go in a park and read outside, or if I'm sitting in the sofa in my living room on the sofa in the heart of winter, it's going to affect what I read. And so the beach read will do that as well. So, what actually makes a beach read? Obviously, this is not an exact science, but here are some criteria from that article, which I thought was quite interesting. And if you think of the books you read on the beach, you'll quite likely recognize where they fit in those in this criteria. So the first one is carefree joy, and I quote: "Try a novel that's just pure fun." A plot-driven novel with lovable characters, a fascinating premise, etc. I was trying to think of a book that I've read that would fit that category, and I couldn't find it, and then I had to go look through my notes. Right, I take care. I take down the titles of the books I read, and I remembered with fond memories the novel called "The Curious Charms of Arthur Pepper" by Phaedra Patrick. Just a sweet story. Um, Lovable characters, fun to read, not demanding. And I think when we are at the beach in the summer, especially if you're on vacation, you just want to escape, right? So this would be a great way of doing that. Second criteria is compulsively readable. And of course, in that category, you can put just about anything, because it's a book really that will, and I quote, keep you turning the pages. So you can put in there a drama, you can put thrillers. I can think of the novel by Catherine McKenzie, I'll Never Tell. And actually, this novel, interestingly, takes place during a summer in a summer camp, but it has some, dark side. But I couldn't stop turning the pages. Super good for the beach or the lake or the pool, right? You can adapt, right? There's an author that I have a lot of books from, and I have not even read one, and I believe this summer should be the summer. Camilla Läckberg is a famous Swedish author, and her first book is called The Ice Princess. Now, this is really a crime thriller, but she's got these really compulsively readable novels. So definitely putting that on my list. And, in that category, I would even also put nonfiction titles, because you have some very compulsively readable memoirs or even how-tos. And sometimes some people, because they don't have time to read them at any other time, they do it in the summer. I remember a few summers ago, I went to Ontario with my husband, and I remember I was reading I Am C-3PO. Sorry, the memoir by Anthony Daniels, right? The actor who is in the costume of C-3PO. And because I grew up with Star Wars, and I am, yes, a Star Wars fan, loved it because I knew about all that environment. I read it quite fast. It's not a long book. I also think that for me, a summer read has to be fairly short and fast-paced, right? Other criteria: summer settings, right? A book that takes place during the summer, and Ellen Hilderbrand's novels would fit in that category. Many people love to pick a romance, right, where there's a happy ending. I find that historical fiction titles often will do that. If you remember, in previous episodes, I've talked about Genevieve Graham's books, right, like The Forgotten Home Child or Bluebird. And she actually told me that she loves to finish her book with a happy ending. So I definitely think this would be a great idea to take on the beach. And finally, last criteria would be low stakes. And I quote, sometimes you need a book where the characters don't have all that much to lose. And then they say, perhaps they're wealthy and privileged. And right away, I thought of Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan, and he's got two more, right, in that trilogy. And it's really funny. I've seen the film, but I also started the novel, but it's also very funny the way it's written. So I would say this would be a very nice way to escape in the summer. Close to me, I mean, I have some mysteries. So there's a lot of different titles that I think would be possible to use as a beach read, but really it depends on who you are and what you want. And one note on this front, on the beach, do you like to read a paperback or a hardcover? Personally, I love a small, tiny book, right? And flexible. So paperback and even mass market paperback, right? The small, small ones. And I see sometimes some people where they're e-readers on the beach. I don't know about that. I think I might be a bit afraid to leave it there for somebody just to grab, right? If somebody grabs your book, your paper copy, it is sad, obviously, but it's just a paper book, right? Whereas your e-reader, well, it might have cost a couple $100. So anyway, something to think about. And of course, if you want to listen, to my episode on e-readers versus books, you can go back in the first 44 episodes of Jackie's Reading Room. This is episode 45, and we're getting closer to the 1-year anniversary, and we'll celebrate very well, I promise. So if you enjoyed this, please share, and I'll talk to you soon.